Good day, students. Welcome to a new class of skilled education, and we are doing ICT skills. And here today we are going to learn with a new chapter called as Introduction to Internet and Email. So what is Internet? Internet is a worldwide network of computers, and these computers or millions of computers all around the world are connected to each other. So it is a network where computers all across different locations in the world can communicate with each other, and it is a very popular because it's flexible to use and it has got high speed. So basically internet is nothing but a network of networks. So where millions and millions of computers all around the world are connected with each other, and they can communicate with each other very easily and with using very high speed. So now what is internet? Internet as a network is used in organizations for private networks, or it is used for linking offices and their employees together. It is used for transferring official data across, and it is used for conducting meetings and conferences. So basically these are where internet is used as a network. Let us understand what is the World Wide Web. World Wide Web refers to a collection of information which is accessible over the internet. So there is a difference between internet and the World Wide Web. So the World Wide Web is also referred to as the web. Now it consists of millions and millions of pages of text, pictures, sounds, animations on all the various topics which are there. So basically the World Wide Web is the web of information. All this information is in the form of web pages, and they are stored on different computers all around the world, and as internet connects all these different computers, you get all this information. So all the information which is available over the internet in the form of text, pictures, sound, music, animations, graphics, etc., all this together forms the World Wide Web. Now, the World Wide Web, the web pages which contain certain words and pictures, when you click on it, it takes you to another web page. This is called as a hyperlink. So whenever you visit a website, you will realize that there are certain words which are highlighted, and when you move around those particular words, a symbol of a hand type of thing comes, and when you click on that, it will take you to another page on another web page. So this is called as a hyperlink. Now, a collection of web pages together forms a website. So, many multiple web pages together forms a website. So, together, if I have a website of a school, I may have multiple pages of information, multiple pages of pictures, images, etc. And all these together forms a website. So, a website can be accessed by means of a unique name which is given to it. So every website has got a unique name with the help of which you can access that website. And you need a good web browser to access a website. Now, a website is a collection of web pages which are grouped together, usually in various ways, that is using the hyperlink, and it is commonly called as a website or a site. So you have got Instagram web page, or Facebook, or you have got many different websites of different companies, different organizations. So all this is a website. Now, what is a web server? A computer that hosts this particular website is called on the internet is called as a web server. So every website is hosted on a particular computer on the internet, which is called as the web server. So you have got a web server. With the help of a browser, you will access the internet and the web server, and from there you go and access the actual web server on which this particular site is hosted. Now, a web page. Any individual page of a website is called as a web page. It is written in a special computer language which is called as HTML. So every website or a web page is created using the language of HTML, and that is hypertext markup language. Now, the first page of a website is called as the home page. Now, there are two types of web pages. One is a static web page and one is a dynamic web page. So what is the difference between the two? So you know that a collection of web pages is called as a website, and the first page of a website is called as the home page. And there are two different types of web pages, that is the static web page and the dynamic web page. So what are they? Let us see. Now, static web page is a web page in which all the information is presented by the user exactly as it is stored. So, for example, any tutorial website, in that particular site, whatever is there, it is exactly stored in that way. Whereas in a dynamic web page, which is usually controlled by the application, so the users have restricted access levels, including full access to the web page or depending upon the pre-accessed rights. So, dynamic web pages show different time. At different times, they show different types of data. For example, a shopping website. A shopping website can show different data at different times. So it is dynamic. It keeps on changing one after the other, and the user has got limited rights to access certain parts of the website. Web page, whereas in a static web page, whatever is there in that, it remains the same. Any number of times that you open that web page, it will be the same stored data which the user can access. So this is the difference between the static web page and a dynamic web page. One changes, one does not change. So this is these are the two different types of web pages in a website. Now, what is the meaning of a search engine? A website which helps you to go into these web pages is called as a search engine. That means you can search for the different websites using a search engine. For example, Google, Bing, Yahoo. These are all examples of search engines with the help of which you can search for websites and web pages. Now, what is the meaning of a URL? That is a Uniform Resource Locator, or every web page has got a unique address which helps to identify that particular web page on the net. Now, this unique address is called as a URL, or the Uniform Resource Locator. Now, this URL is basically divided into two parts. The protocol identifier, which identifies the protocol which has been used, and then the resource name, which specifies the complete address of that particular website or on the internet. So, these are the two ways in which a URL is divided. So the first thing, for example, HTTP and www.mywebsite.com. Now this is a full address of a website. In this, HTTP is the protocol, that is hypertext transfer protocol, that is the protocol which is used, and www.mysite.com is the resource name. So basically every website address is divided into two parts, that is the protocol and the resource name. So as I already mentioned, every website has got a unique address referred to as the URL, and every URL specifies the exact location of the web page on the internet. Now, certain conventions need to be followed when you name a web page. So every web page, you must realize that the name of the website can be anything of your choice, but the extension which follows it has got a particular convention which needs to be followed. So let us look at the details of that. So an overview of the web addresses. So whenever there is a web address or a website which is called .com, it indicates that the website is for a commercial organization. .edu indicates that the website is for educational institutions such as schools, colleges and universities. .net indicates that the website is for network oriented organizations or for an ISP, that is the internet service provider. .org indicates that the website is for a non-profit organization. .info indicates that the website is for informative in nature. .museum indicates that the website is for a museum or an individual museum profession. Now, note that country-wise also there will be a difference in the domain. For example, a domain of KE is for Kenya, IN is for India, JP is for Japan, like this. So, if I have got a particular address that smgi.edu.in, suppose I have got a website called shrima.sm, that is Shrima Group of Institutions.smgi.edu.in. edu.in means it's an educational institution and it is in India. So, this way you can identify the name of a website by these particular indicators, that whether it is a commercial website, is an educational one, or it is an informative one, and into which country it belongs to, that also it is indicated by .in, .jp, .ke, like this. So this is the way a website is named, and that is the URL of a website is named. Now, what are the applications of internet? Now we know what is internet, what is the difference between internet and www, and how a website is divided into different web pages and what is the information that we get on a website. Now, what are the applications of internet? So we can say that the different applications of internet are: first is searching for information. Whatever information you are searching for, you can get it through any search engines. Chatting over the internet, video conferencing, social networking like Twitter, Facebook, all these type of social networking sites are there. E-learning, e-shopping, e-reservations of hotels, tickets, flight tickets, hotel reservations, etc. Email, sending of email and receiving of emails, and e-banking. So these are some of the internet applications. Let us go into detail each of this. First of all, email. Email stands for electronic mail. It is the message that you send and receive from one computer to the other. So messages can be sent via email from one computer to the other. What is chatting? Chatting, as you know, is textual communication or real-time texting between two people, and generally these messages are very short. Next is video conferencing. Video conferencing uses the internet as a visual communication between two people who are present at different locations. So using video conferencing, a person sitting in America can easily conference one-on-one with people sitting in India or any other countries like this. So at different locations, people can communicate with each other. What is social networking? I need not tell you. Social networking is the use of internet-based media sites for getting stay connected with your family, friends, relatives, or your official groups. You can have direct communication using the social networking sites. Next is e-learning. As the name mentions, it refers to learning system that is done on the electronic device using internet connection. So whatever you are doing right now, that is called as a part of e-learning. That is, you are using internet and your electronic devices to learn using the internet connection. Next is e-shopping. As you know very well, buying and selling of goods on the internet is called as e-shopping. The customers can buy it, any goods on the internet at the comfort of their home. 24-hour transactions are there, and you can give payment also. You can do using the credit card, debit card, net payment, etc. And last one is e-reservation. E-reservation means booking online tickets, train tickets, movie tickets, or hotel bookings, tour packages. Everything can be done. All reservations can be done using the internet websites for these particular e-reservation sites. So basically, these are the uses or applications where internet is used. Let us go on to the next very important part of internet, which is called as the email. What is email? And let us go on to the different aspects of an email. So what is the advantages of email? First is that it is very fast and easy. It is the fastest means of communication to reach any part of the world in seconds. You can send text messages, and along with that you can also attach your attachments of the mail, can have pictures, sound messages anywhere across the globe. And the messages can consist of a few lines or more. So basically these are the advantages of email. So email means sending and receiving messages across the one computer to the other across any part of the world. Then you don't have to pay anything extra for sending or receiving an email. It is automatically gets included in the internet connection. So there is no special charges for sending or receiving emails. You don't you need not be on your computer online all the time to receive the mail. The mail already automatically comes into your inbox, and whenever you have time you can see the mails and reply to them. Then it is an eco-friendly way because there is no use of paper in sending an email, and also you can send bulk messages to a large number of people at the same time. So basically there are a lot of advantages of using emails, and a few of them which I already discussed below before this. These are the advantages of using an email. Now, to use an email, the first important thing is that you should have an email account. So you need to open an email account and have an email address. So an email address is divided into two parts, the username and the host, and these two parts are separated with an @. So you know very well that if you have an email ID, it will be my email @gmail.com, which means that your mail is the name of your email address, and .com, that is gmail.com, is your host name on which email host server you are hosting your email ID. So this is the email address. Everybody, I know by now everybody must be having their own email account, and you know what it may be on rediffmail.com, it can be a Sifi, it can be on Gmail, whichever is the host name, you have to, it is attached separated with an @ sign. The next is an email program or an application. So an email program enables you to send and receive messages, and most popular ones are gmail.com, yahoo.com, rediffmail.com. So these are the basic email programs or applications on which you can use to send and receive mails. Now sending and receiving mails. Once you use your email ID and log into your with the password, you have to set your password. You have to create your own email account. Using that, you get an email address, and you have to also set a password using which once you enter into your email account, you will get to see a list of the mails which you have got on your email this thing, and on the side you have got inbox, compose, and lot of options from which you can start messages and different types of spams. All this you can see on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you get to see the details of the messages that you have received. Now, when you click on compose, you get to see a new mailbox, a dialog box in which you can, on the to address, you will click and write down the address of the person whom you want to send the mail to. Then below that, you have got a subject line onto which you can write down the subjects that that is the email ID, so that it easily identifies what mail it is about. And below that, in the white area, you can type the actual subject matter of your email. Now along with that, there are some formatting tools also available to you, and below that you also have got certain tools with the help of which you can attach files, or you can send files to a drive, etc. All that can be done using the bar below. You can attach audio files, video files, pictures, everything can be attached to your email ID, and when you click on the send button, then the address which the to address the email gets delivered within seconds. So this is the way an email is sent. Now, some of the options when you are composing email is the to option. The to option is where you actually write down the email address of the person whom you are sending the message to. Now, along with that, there is also option called as a CC option. It stands for carbon copy. So this option allows you to send messages to several people at the same time, and every recipient will know whom the other person is, who is the other person who is receiving the mail. So CC means carbon copy. So the carbon copy is for people, multiple people you can send it, and each other the recipients will know who else has got the a copy of the same mail. Now each email ID is separated with a semicolon. In the CC, when you put many multiple addresses, you have to separate it with a semicolon. Now the next one is BCC, that is in blind carbon copy. In this option, you are allowed to send the same message to several people. Only thing is that the recipient will not know whom the other email is, who is the other recipient of the email message. So if I send it to one person, the other person will not. I can send it to multiple people, but each other they will not know who else has received the same email. So that is called as the blind carbon copy, or BCC. The next one is the subject option, in which you have to write down a few words about the content of the message. Now what happens is, when you write a subject line, when it comes to the other person's inbox, automatically the person will be able to view the subject and then decide whether he wants to open it immediately or whether he can postpone it or open it at a later time. All this depends upon the subject. So it is always best to give a subject of the email in the subject line. The next one is attachment. So in attachments, icon helps you to attach files like documents, presentations, images, videos, etc. onto your along with your email message. But the only thing is, there are slight restrictions on the size of the files which can be sent using attachments. If the size of the file is too huge, then you can attach it in a drive. You can send it in a Google Drive. A drive is a place where large files can be uploaded, and the link of that particular drive file can be sent via email to the people. So this is called as an attachment. So with this, we come to the end of this chapter on internet and email. I hope you have exactly understood, and I'm sure that you are very familiar using the internet, and you know the concepts of web pages, websites, and how to send and receive emails, and what are the different applications for which internet is used. So this is the gist of whatever we have learned today in today's class. Thank you.